All right, guys. Well, we are live right now. This is actually our first Texas Trekker podcast. I am here right now with Mr. NASA Nick.
It's a good name.
It is a good name. Why do we call you NASA Nick?
I work at NASA in technology, so we're going to talk about technology for hiking probably today, right?
Yeah, actually,
about,
we probably
water
will.
Filtration systems.
Actually, I forgot to bring you the charger, didn't I? Oh, here it is.
Oh, it's all good. Hey, beautiful things.
It's actually my new backpacking charger.
This is a little bit too big for ultralight, though.
It is a little bit too big for ultralight, but my phone I think my battery kept dying on me. So, but anyway, this is Mr. NASA Nick right here. I guess I'll switch it over here so that way you can see us both. But anyway, we're going to talk about a couple topics today based on some of our past backpacking trips. So a little bit of, I guess, history behind my backpacking. I've been backpacking since I was probably 6th grade. I started in Lexington, Kentucky. And my first backpacking trip was into the, where'd we go? Big South Fork, Tennessee. Kind of close to the Smoky Mountain National Forest, which I know that you like a lot.
I do. Which is interesting because I grew up in North Dakota, where it's pretty much, if you've been there before, it's just flat. Yeah. So my first legit backpacking trip was with you on the AT, where you almost killed me, which is what got me into ultralight hiking because I knew there had to be a better way.
There has to be a better way. Yeah. And there is a better way because we just did that trip to the Lonestar Trail. We did I guess it was only half of the trail, really. Really, I think I only did almost 30 miles of it, and then my feet gave out. So that was not fun.
Lesson learned.
That was a lesson learned.
Every trip's better.
Yes, this is true. But anyway, we have a couple topics that we're actually going to be talking about. Let me pull them up here. And I'm actually going to skip over the first one. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. So Nick and I actually just did the, like I'm saying, probably the first west section of the Lonestar Trail. And so that's west of 45. The trail is about, 96 or 98 miles long, somewhere around in there. And so so we just did the first half of it. And it was really, really cool because we actually did it with your uncle and your cousin. And so we started at Trailhead 1. And, I guess we went in January, so the water sources actually weren't too bad, but they were still far and few between. You know what I mean? Yeah. So one of the main things...
Nothing like the AT, where water just seems to flow off the mountains.
This is true. Yeah. Water does flow right off the mountains in the AT, and the water is a lot clearer.
For sure.
And your filters don't get clogged up as bad.
That's the entire point, right? Is that even in a place like the Lonestar Trail, where the water might be sitting there for a while, you can still drink it. You just got to have the right system.
That's right. But the first time I actually went out to the Lonestar Trail, actually it was the second time, I took my Grail out there, and I was trying to filter water, but I guess that because there's so much soot and just crap in the water, I kept trying to filter, and man, it just, within the first filter, it just completely clogged up. Yeah. It was terrible. So I thought maybe something was wrong with my filter because I had never done that before. Because the first couple times that I've actually been backpacking or in Texas, was at, what's that place? Lost Maples. And
Which is beautiful.
It is beautiful up there. And so the water there is just super crystal clear, right? And so I never had any problems filtering. But then I go out to the Lonestar Trail and I go to filter, my filters clog up. So... I actually switched filters from the Grail to the Be Free by Catadine.
Wait, what's it called?
It's called the Be Free by Catadine.
Okay, you got it?
I brought it in here.
It's the worst part about hiking gear is how it just disappears on you. I know. Especially if you have kids.
Yes, this is true. Very true. So the water sources out there at the Lonestar, like I'm saying, I know I've never done it during the summertime, but I think I've been there 6 times since October now. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Yeah. And so anyway, I switched over to the Be Free Catadine. The flow rate on that one was a little bit better, but then over time, it just started to clog up. So if anybody has any, better recommendations for, real sooty water, or maybe even a pre-filter, That would be awesome.
Well, you used this last hike we did. What did you do?
Oh yeah. To basically filter it or pre-filter it, I was using cheesecloth.
Right.
So I would, because, I was asking my wife, I was like, what could I use that water could go through really easily? At first, I was using a coffee filter, but that wasn't going to be sufficient. So she was like, you just need to use some cheesecloth.
Your wife is smart.
She is. She's a lot smarter than me. She actually went to college. Well, I went to college too, but she finished. But
I went to college, and my wife is still smarter than me.
So water sources on the Lonestar Trail, they're kind of far and few between in the summertime. From what I hear, I heard that you can go like 10 miles between sections, and
well, I mean, even this time there was stuff dried up. I mean, there was not a ton of water sources.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we actually went. So Nick and I actually just took our kids last weekend. I took my son Jack, and Nick took his sons Asher and Kai, and we went down the Sand Branch Trail. So if you've ever been out there to the Lonestar Trail, it's just a little shoot right off of the Lonestar Trail. And we get to the first campsite, and there's just like this Taj Mahal tent. This lady had set up there, and I guess, I don't know if they had like 10 more families coming to sleep in that tent.
Like,
but
is
it was
one of those 3 rooms?
Yes, it was one of the
mansion?
it's just a Taj
How'd
Mahal.
You even get it
I don't know.
That's crazy.
It was her and her husband. They had 2 hammocks, and then they had like a Taj Mahal tent and a pit bull.
/ Jeep off-roading to get to where.
Yeah, well, they hiked it out there. I don't know how the heck
amazing.
they got it out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they were out there, and I was like, I'm not going to impose on you. So we kept going down the trail, and then that's whenever it opened up, and I found that pond that was back there. And it was just absolutely amazing.
I mean, I've been to a lot of great places, and that place we camped at the Lonestar Trail was one of the best.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
The main reason, I mean, since we're on water sources, was because of the water source. So if you're going down the Lonestar Trail, and I don't know what happens like in the summertime, if that little pond dries up or whatever.
No, it's probably there all year.
It's probably there all year. So I'm going to keep that in mind.
It's on the map anyway.
Yeah.
A blue dot.
The
pond. Yeah.
A blue.
It's on the Lonestar Trail map. Right.
Do you have to like zoom in like real far? Because I didn't find it.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good looking.
So
Nick.
where were we? We were 2.5 miles past Trailhead 2. So
well,
2 miles
it was,
and then half mile south.
Well, I think it ended up being about 3 miles in.
Yeah.
Once you
wasn't
keep
2 because my kids, we were promised 2 miles.
Yeah.
So I prepared my kids for 2 miles, and so the last half mile was a lot of complaining.
Yes, but you just give them a little Snickers bar and they'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so water sources along the Lonestar Trail, kind of far and few between. At least on the west side, I want to go back to the Lonestar Trail and just do the full deal in the fall time.
Yeah. But
So
how about the summer?
No.
Did you do it?
No,
Why
heck
not?
no. What do you mean? Why? Because
what if we have people listening who aren't familiar with Texas?
mosquitoes
They're
are the
thinking to
size of
themselves,
birds.
Man, I would love to go to Texas summertime, maybe August. Sounds just delightful.
It sounds so stupid.
Why? It is stupid.
Yeah.
Why?
So Nick and I actually love the state of Texas.
We do.
We do.
For the most part.
But I hate the weather in the summer.
It's the worst.
So Nick has a container cabin in North Carolina where you can walk out the front door or actually it's the back door and you can see the AT.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And that's where we go in August.
Yeah, that's where we go in August. Still hot, but
It is.
still not as bad. And you're in the mountains, so that's good.
Right.
Where we live in Texas, it's just super flat. We always have to drive like 5 hours to find any type of elevation.
Yeah, August in Texas is our off season.
Yes.
Yeah. But the winter is the time to go.
Well, yeah, winter is definitely the time to go. I'm going to New Hampshire next month, May 12th. I'm going to go.
Man. That's awesome.
I'm going to go backpack for about 4 or 5 days out there with my buddy Chris and my buddy TJ.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're going to do like a portion of the AT or if we're doing like some type of like loop offshoot somewhere out there. But yeah, that's my plan. So like as the summer kind of comes around, I think that, I'm going to start heading to like Colorado. You got to go to kind of the mountains where it's still kind of cool in the, in the summertime.
Right.
Because I've been to Vail during the middle of summer. Hot as all get out during the middle of the day, but man, you freeze.
Yep.
Which I love.
So what do you do at night? So what's your gear setup look like?
My gear setup right now.
Your gear setup is very different than my gear setup.
Yeah, so I'm a tent camper and Nick is a hammock camper.
Hanging taco.
Hanging bear taco. That's right. So,
which does lead us into. So you've done it with me before.
Yeah.
The hanging taco thing.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that in a moment. About the time you almost died.
Yeah, we were actually out at Nick's place, and I almost got killed by the man bear pig.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my first hammock experience.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. But anyway, I digress. So my setup now is I have the Z-Packs duplex, which I absolutely love. So I went from the REI Half Dome 2 Plus, which is 5 pounds 4 ounces.
Yikes! That's like half the weight of my total pack.
Yeah, it's
Not
ridiculous.
Even, or more.
Of your base weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So, I forgot where I was going.
You have a tent.
Oh yeah, I have a tent. I have a Z-Packs duplex. So anyway, I dropped down to, I think it's 19 ounces now for my tent.
Wow.
So I've dropped.
And that's not the smallest tent that they offer either.
No, like the Altiplex and there's another like one person tent by Z.
I mean, for
Z-Packs.
ultralight hikers, your tent is kind of the Taj Mahal of tents.
It is. I mean, whenever I go by myself, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I've got so much room.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, and there was enough room for your kid to be in there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so whenever we went last weekend, and I took my son Jack, he's only 8 years old, but still we had plenty of room in the Z-Packs, which was amazing.
Yeah. So I use the War Bonnet makes a hammock called the XLC, and it's almost like a tent. So it's a hammock, but it has a zipper, so it has a net over the top, and so you can be completely enclosed. I think the main difference for me, especially in Texas, I mean, you were almost killed this last weekend by a scorpion.
Yeah.
Right. There are scorpions. There are snakes. There are crazy things that can kill you in Texas. I mean, maybe worse than the man bear pig in Texas. So I love the comfort of not being on the ground. I mean, no water issues in case, there's a flash flood, no scorpions to sting me, no giant pigs. The wild boars in Texas are intense. We saw a lot of damage out there on the Lonestar Trail from that.
Yeah, they do. So, they do rut it up quite a bit out there.
Although I think you point out that they could just pretty much take me out as they run.
They could.
Just spin me around. But
yeah,
so Brock and I are really different when it comes to tent versus hammock. Both are awesome.
Yes. However, what I have figured out, Nicholas, is tent setups tend to be lighter.
So that is totally true. I actually have a spreadsheet, as people at NASA like to do, and I have it we literally count the ounces, right? And so I can't get my hammock set up to be less than yours. I'm essentially a pound heavier than you. What do you want me to do?
Talk more into the mic.
Talk more.
Yeah.
I'm a pound heavier than you. I can't get any lighter. I have the lightest hammock setup you can get.
So does that make me better than you?
No, it's what I'm carrying is so worth it.
Yeah.
Because you could die at any given time by a scorpion.
I don't know, man. you just got to keep it. You got to keep your tent zipped. And that's what I kept trying to tell my son. Is if you go in the tent, make sure it zips all the way, because spiders and scorpions and all kinds of stuff can get in there.
Right. Well, here's where the hammock setup's better. It takes me about 2 minutes to set the whole thing up.
This is true.
How long does it take you?
My Z-Packs, probably 5 minutes.
Okay. So we're not talking big amounts of time. I mean, it's not a three room tent, so.
No, but I'm a pound lighter.
You are.
Thank you.
So I make that up though in my sleeping system.
Okay,
my
how?
Sleep system. So, I mean, it depends on the time of year. So in the summertime, I can make that up. In the wintertime, I can't, because the wintertime.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Well, it's always summertime in Houston.
No.
Pretty much.
This weekend, whenever we went camping, you woke up and what did you tell me?
All right, fine. So this was a lesson learned though, because my uncle and my cousin are really, really big on quilts, which a quilt is different than a sleeping bag because it's essentially
basically just no zipper.
Yeah, it just has no zipper. But I still have the foot box, so I was all in on the quilt. It sounded great. It's a little bit lighter than my my really fantastic sleeping bag that I have. However, I learned that it can get really cold, and I admit I was freezing. Yeah. I woke up.
Luckily, it wasn't too cold.
What's that?
Luckily, it wasn't too cold.
It wasn't. And I would wake up. I would essentially wake myself up by shivering. and then I'd go back to sleep. So I probably will go back to a sleeping bag in my hammock setup.
Got it.
Even with that, it's still lighter. It still makes up some of that difference.
Yeah, I actually busted a hole in my bag. I don't know if it was over the weekend or if it was whatever it was, but I went to go set up everything in my tent.
Yeah.
And I noticed that down feathers were just going everywhere. I was like, what the heck? Where's all this down coming from? Did my son kill a goose? And, of course, he didn't kill a goose. It's just I had a hole in my bag. So right. I have like a whole baffle of like that's almost just empty. So I was like, man, I've been looking for potentially, maybe a quilt. But I think I figured out I don't want a quilt.
Yeah.
But Feathered Friends actually has a pretty freaking awesome sleeping bag that I'm eyeing, but it's almost $500.
Okay. I mean, obviously in ultralight, it weighs less, but it costs more. I mean, that's just the game.
That's what it is. And I've noticed that like in some of the like ultralight stuff though, it can be a little bit less durable, but that's kind of the price that you pay. That's a big price to pay.
That's a big price. I mean, yeah, but it's all about the ounces or lack thereof.
Yeah, I think the one that I was looking at was actually called the Flicker.
Okay. So what's so special about it?
Well, I like it because it can be a quilt or a sleeping bag.
So it has a zipper.
It does have a zipper. Okay. So, but you can unzip it all the way, and it just becomes like a big blanket.
See, that's really nice.
Yeah. Or you can zip it a little bit, make a foot box, and you can pull the little draw cord, and then it makes a foot box, and then you can zip it up all the way if you want.
Well,
so
that's nice.
I don't know, but it doesn't have a head scoop or a head,
See, and I love that.
I do too.
Because then when it's cold out, you can contain your body heat. You don't get too cold. Especially up in the AT where we do a lot of hiking. It can get really chilly at nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm good down to about 10 degrees.
Yeah. After that, it gets really uncomfortable.
Yeah. After that, you got to carry a lot more gear. Different gear.
That brings me to my next point. So I've had 2 packs made by Zimmer Built.
Me too.
Yeah.
I brought them. For those of you that are watching, here's my blue Zimmer Built.
Here. Bring it more back up a little bit.
Right here.
Yeah. Or actually,
Can you see it?
do this.
What?
Put it right here. Right here in front of the.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's one of his kids' ultralight packs right there.
That's kid A, and then kid B is the same thing, red. So these are fantastic, man. We have been so impressed by Zimmer Built.
Yes. However, so I bought the Quick Step, and then I had a custom one built, which I really like, and then yesterday or 2 days ago, I was trying to contact Zimmer, and I haven't heard back, so I don't know if he's on vacation or whatever else. Well,
he's kind of a single-man operation, right?
He is, I think.
We think. We don't know. If you are Chris Zimmer and you're listening, you should let us know.
Email me back, man. I'm trying to get another pack built because...
Don't be so impatient. This guy is so busy. Yeah. Think about that.
This is true.
I mean, he makes, honestly, one of the best backpacks that we found out there.
Yeah.
It's light, it's really affordable, and he'll customize it. I mean, what do you do for you on your custom pack?
So basically, I wanted a 35-liter pack because I was coming down from a 65-liter Osprey. So I went down.
That's ridiculous.
I know, it's basically half. And so I wanted one that was a 35-liter, that had the pockets on the outside, but I also wanted a pocket basically sewn right up above the mesh. So that way I can it's basically like an attached ditty bag.
Okay.
I don't want something that I can lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just had him do that. But on this next one, what I wanted to do was do a 45-liter and then have that same exact pack that I had built. But I wanted to stick like a 6-inch deep pocket on the very bottom because either I can put my sleeping bag down there or I can put my food or something like that. Or just if I have extra gear, especially like whenever I go to New Hampshire, I'm going to have more gear because it's going to be colder and there'll be some snow out there. So I wanted something a little bit deeper. I can, just for more of your winter camping type of deal. But then as summer comes around, I'll drop back down to my 35-liter.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing.
Man, I tell you what, I still have a Mountain Laurel design pack, which the Prophet, I love it. So I've tried.
That's the Prophet?
Yeah, that's the Prophet. And it's the Cuban fiber, big pocket on the front. I mean, I love it so much. But my kids love the Zimmer Built, so I have options at this point.
Yeah, I love the Zimmer Built too.
Yeah.
Those are made out of X-Pack.
Yeah.
As opposed to the DCF.
Hey, so we did get one comment on Facebook so far, and I want to address it because it's exactly right. So Marcus says the hanging taco sounds sexy. And I mean, at the end of the day, maybe that's how I win. Because my hanging taco setup, it's so sexy. It's so beautiful. It's you just walk up to it and you're like, man, that looks so cool.
What, your hammock setup?
Yeah.
That, and it's like bright orange, which is really cool.
It is bright orange, yeah. It's so one of our first hammock experiences, because we touched on it, but we probably need to tell the story about the time and it was really just you, almost died by the infamous, legendary man bear pig.
Yeah, so before Nick built his cabin out in North Carolina, in where's it? It's in Otto, North Carolina.
Yeah, Otto.
So basically, if you guys have ever done the AT, it's basically, if you look out his back, the back door, you can see Albert Mountain.
Mile 100.
Mile 100,
yep.
Right. So you can see that out the back of his cabin. So if you guys ever want to stay there, it is on Airbnb, and it's awesome. You should stay there. We'll put a link in the description below this.
I also put a link to our lighter pack setups, so people can see what we carry.
Did you put mine on there?
I did.
Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah. So I think mine's a pound lighter than Nick's, so that makes me way better. But anyway, so Nick and I were out in North Carolina before his cabin was built, and he was like, hey, man, you should come out here, hang out at my land. We'll kind of chill, do a fire, and we'll sleep in hammocks, and the wives can go down to the other cabin. So I was like, cool. So my first hammock camping experience, didn't really know much about it, and didn't have a pad underneath me. So it's about 2 a.m, and I am freezing to death in this hammock. And so all of a sudden I hear this like, rah, like just like this horrible growl thing, scream thing. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to die. I feel like a hanging taco. And so Nick is probably 30, 40 yards from me, hanging
Not far, yeah.
in his taco. And so I start screaming at Nick at the top of my lungs. He doesn't budge. I try calling him. I'm still hanging there. I'm like, look, so I'm looking down. I see my shoes. I was like, okay, I can put my shoes on, run and grab Nick and run to the Jeep, or I can just run straight to the Jeep. I put my shoes on and I ran straight to the Jeep. Nick was left to be for dead.
Yeah.
Not really.
True friend.
True friend.
Thank
No,
you.
I run straight over to Nick. I start shaking him. I'm like, hey, man, there's something out here. We're about to die. Let's go. And the first thing he says was, does it sound big? I screamed, yes, let's go.
Which, by the way, if you're ever on the Appalachian Trail or the Lonestar Trail or any trail, a mouse sounds big.
This is true. Because we were out at Lost Maples, and we kept hearing something. We thought like something big was out there, like something. Ended up being a mouse. Yeah, real small. But anyway, so the next day we went back out there to the land. We were hanging. We saw some paw marks. I don't know if it was like a cat but it was the man bear pig.
Well,
for sure.
and years later, I mean, we know obviously it is true that the man bear pig exists, but there's also a lot of other really big things out there: bears and mountain lions and
mountain lions. It's more like mountain Laurel.
Oh, the fox are crazy loud out there. It's pretty cool. But so we were hiking on the Lonestar Trail this weekend, though, or this whenever it was recently, and you were telling Jack and Asher and Kai, our kids, about
the man
bear pig.
Yeah.
I mean, you really expanded.
Yeah.
So what are a few of the characteristics that you can expect
So
if you were to come across a man bear pig?
The man bear pig is half man, half bear, half pig.
Yeah.
Trust me, the math works out. Trust me, it's 150%.
It is.
Yeah, so it's got the head of a man, the body or torso of a bear, and the feet of a pig.
And also a tail of the pig.
Yes.
We determined. Yes.
Yeah.
But so is there like a call that the man bear pig makes?
Actually, if you ever hear the man bear pig, you're dead.
Right.
So nobody really knows what the man bear pig sounds like. I think there's only been 3 people that has
and you're one of the only 3 people that have
that's right.
survived.
And you.
Well,
indirectly.
true. I guess that's true. It's indirect, but you had the direct, like, real experience with him. So you actually mentioned why he didn't kill you. Do you remember what you said?
I forgot what I said. What did I say?
There's only one instance where he won't kill you. It's sad if he has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, he had to go to the bathroom. That's what I told the kids. Yeah, so he had to pee, so he gave me a rain check. So maybe next time I go out there.
Yeah, you are lucky.
Yeah.
So Kai in particular kept trying to make the man bear pig call. Did not believe Brock, and then said, fine, I'll look it up on the way home. And they were looking on the way home, literally on the way home. I'm driving home in the Jeep. They're looking up man bear pig on the internet. and you had told him, you warned him, you said, if you look it up on the internet, it's the same thing. He'll come after you. Yeah. So now my kids are terrified.
I'm glad that I could do that for you. Super glad.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so some of the other topics. Well, do we want to talk a little bit more about water filtration?
I'll just point out that I have the Sawyer system, which, if you can see that, it's pretty much just this bladder and the filter. It is fantastic. Honestly, I've been really influenced by my uncle, my cousin, and Brock when it comes to ultralight hiking. Brock's been the negative influence in my life, just to be clear. Rod and Joey, positive influence. So
why am I the negative one?
Because you almost killed me on the AT the first time. Brock's like, hey, buy this Osprey
it's like
75,
70 liter.
70 liter pack. So I filled it up because obviously you should. It's so big, right?
Right.
So we were going to go hiking 20 miles that first day. Do you remember?
Oh, I remember the talk.
We went 3.
Yeah, we went 3.
We made it nowhere, and we were.
But we started late. We started late.
Fair. We did start late. We all learned so much, and it's only been a couple years, and we have just lost weight, and we've become firm believers in ultralight hiking.
Yeah, I'm definitely an ultralight hiker.
Yeah.
From the last time I did the Lone Star.
Yeah.
Never again will I ever hike with a heavy pack. And you can go to my YouTube channel. I have I think it's the Lonestar Trail episode 1 that I have on there.
Yeah.
That's
trip. You actually on the trail hiking and
with you and your cousin and uncle.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. So anyway, water filtration. So Nick uses the Sawyer squeeze. I've seen a lot of other people out there using the Sawyer squeeze. Excuse me. And then I switched over to the Katadyn Be Free. And but everything out there clogs. So I'm thinking maybe I've heard people talk about is it chlorine or iodine or some sort of tablet out there that can basically purify your water. So anyway, Sawyer squeeze for clear water. Katadyn Be Free for clear water. Anyway, if you're having a lot of soot or whatever, or a lot of crap in the water, Lonestar Trail will destroy it.
Well, and this is so important because water filtration is one of the big reasons people give up on hikes. Because if you don't do it well, you're going to get sick, and then you're going to go off the trail, which is one of the reasons people don't make it on the AT.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people actually give up on the AT within like the first 8 or 20 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, they go out.
They're just not prepared.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't
We
prepared.
met a guy that was training for this summer's hike on the AT on the Lonestar Trail when we were out there.
Yeah, he was getting prepared. He's going next week?
Yeah.
Or this week, I guess.
Yeah,
so good luck to him. I forgot what his name was.
Yeah, me too. But he had, I guess, and maybe this is a thing when people hike the AT. I mean, again, you're really trying to reduce your weight because you have a long ways to go. But you always kind of bring maybe one item with you that's kind of a special, just it's worth the weight. And
your luxury item.
A luxury item, yes. And I loved his luxury item.
What was it again?
You remember? He gave it to our kids to play around.
Yeah. It was a frisbee.
Yeah, like an ultralight frisbee.
Little foldable frisbee.
Yeah. So I'm definitely getting one of those.
Didn't fly that great, though. Not very straight.
Yeah.
That was the bad part.
Into the pond.
Yeah, it did go in the pond, didn't it?
That was not good.
Yeah. So one of the next topics that we have is about food prep. Nick, tell me about your food prep, man.
So let me just first caveat this by saying when I lived in Europe, which I lived in Europe for a summer, you can see so much more of Europe if you don't do 2 things. 1, if you don't care about food and you don't stop for food. And 2, if you don't sleep. You can travel, you can see the world. So many people waste time eating food and sleeping. I don't understand.
A lot, but dude, I'm a foodie.
You are.
I would go there and I would waste all my time going to all the food places.
So let me tell you about my food prep, because you and I, again, are very different. My food prep, again, very influenced by my uncle, whose kind of philosophy of hiking is simply cover as much ground as you can. So I carry this small piece of Tupperware, and I do not normally carry a stove. I carry this so that I can simply put some ramen noodles in it about half an hour before I stop hiking, crush them up in there, put some water in there, let them cold soak. Good to go. Show up at your campsite, open it up, you can eat. No time wasted preparing food. There's no reason really to heat up your food. It's extra weight. Say false. You got to carry the fuel.
I'm going to say false.
All right, convince me. Which you won't be able to.
At the end of the day.
All right.
You know, lunch, yeah, I can see. Well, I'm not cold soaking for lunch. I'm probably going to have some beef jerky and granola bar.
Yeah. People always overplan for lunch. They carry way too much food.
This last trip, I carried way too much. But anyway, whenever it's been a long day, like the last day that we did Lone Star, we did 17 miles. I was dead at the end of the day. I wanted something hot, something salty. What do you get? You get a nice, warm bowl of ramen noodles.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be warm.
Put some tuna in there.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh, dude, what do you mean it doesn't need to be warm?
I just explained how to cold soak.
Oh, my God. I know how to cold soak, Nicholas. This is ridiculous.
But you could totally do the same thing without it being warm, and then you now no longer have. It's almost like what is so important to you on the trail, and most people start with thinking everything's important, and really over time, with experience, you realize what's important to you. So for you, hot food is important. For me, food is less important, but a hammock is worth the pound.
Yeah. To me, I love all hot food, especially in the morning, because I like to do breakfast tacos. So I'll get the breakfast skillet from Walmart or REI or whatever. You know, the Mountain House meal.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring tortillas. I mean, I guess food is my luxury item.
Yeah.
I always overpack on food. But even this last time, my pack for 3 days with all my food, everything was 17 pounds.
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And I overpacked, and I only ate like half my food.
And you were carrying half your kids' stuff.
Yeah. I was actually carrying Jack's backpack for like the past mile.
Yeah. Okay, so I have two other things to show you, though. So, okay, I have been slowly experimenting with the idea of warming up my food. Not convinced yet. But when we're only going like 3 miles with the kids, and it's only a long weekend, we have this really great, you can buy it on Amazon from BRS. It's a Chinese.
It works great.
Yeah, I mean, talk about just cool technology. It's just this little stove. I'm trying to open it up here.
I think it was like 13 or 15 bucks.
Super cheap, really light, and here, close enough. Yeah. And you just take a little Bic half lighter, and this thing weighs nothing, and it is good enough. Now, if it's windy, that may be a bad choice. Again, I'd probably just go back to cold soak, but that is sufficient. Now, even better than this, because this is a pretty good $13 solution. Even better than this, if you can come across one or make one for yourself, which Brock, you tried, so you can explain that.
Oh, yeah.
My uncle, Rod, taught me about this like whole cultural phenomenon with ultralight hikers, where you take a can and you make a little alcohol burning stove. This thing weighs nothing. It's beautiful. It works very similar to those ones you can buy and put in your backyard, where it's all just well-engineered, great technology, a good system. You take a little bit of alcohol in a mouthwash bottle, you put this in there, you light it, boom, that's it. That's all you need. And that's equivalent to this.
Yeah, so Rod made me one, too. I haven't used it out there on the trail yet.
Yeah, well, Rod didn't make it for you. So there's a guy in South Carolina that makes this. Rod contacted him. That's what I'm saying. If you can come across one, because you tried to make one of those, and it didn't turn out as well.
Not as good.
They're hard. I mean, it's an art. So.
Absolutely. So this is definitely an option that you guys could use for that. And you guys have probably seen these on all the forums. But for the people that are brand new into backpacking or ultralight hiking, this is definitely an option. I think this weighs like an ounce.
Yeah, nothing.
If that.
Yep.
And it's just super light versus like the your fuel, your stove, I guess the pot is separate, but still much lighter option.
Well, so you get into it. Like, do you carry a pot? Do you have to carry a pot? So we were talking about this past weekend. I carry a cup if I carry all of this, or I could just not carry any of this and cold soak.
I'm not cold soaking, Nick. Cold soaking is for communists and people that like non-crunchy peanut butter.
Fair. I would say the downfall of this one is that it can crush easily. So if you do one of these, you probably want to protect it in your pack pretty well. So I'll tell you, one of the improvements I'm trying to make, and Brock and I were talking about this, is if you go through all the trouble of heating up your food, you're obviously you're making a compromise that you're willing to carry a little bit more. So I'm trying to get a system where just it's the pot. The fuel fits in it. This fits in there. Well, everything fits in there.
What size is your pot? 400 or 700?
Yeah, 450.
450. Yeah. That would fit inside your pot.
This would. Yeah, my cup. Yeah, that would be good enough.
And then you could put. I mean, you can even fit your BRS in there.
Yeah. Yep.
All one little deal. Because I mean, I've used Jet Boils before, or it's actually an off-brand, which works really good.
Yeah.
But it's so heavy and it didn't pack down very well. It was really bulky. So I switched to that little BRS like what you have.
Okay. I like it.
But notice the guy that, says he likes to cold soak does have this. Just saying.
I'm just experimenting with the idea of preparing food because I realized that we were speaking of Krista earlier. If Krista was to disappear, I would be so in trouble. So at some point I'm going to have to learn to cook anyway.
Well, I mean, that's why McDonald's is around.
Well, but, I mean, McDonald's wasn't around in the Great Freeze of 2021 in Texas. What did you do, Brock?
I cooked on all my camping gear.
Of course you did.
My wife is not a camper. She does not like camping because the first time I ever took her camping, it was a miserable experience for her. I loved it.
Yeah.
But we ended up freezing, and a storm came through, rained, and then it froze. So it literally froze my zipper shut to where we couldn't get out the next morning.
Wow.
And it was a bad deal. But anyway.
Why is it whenever we take our wives hiking, it's always a bad experience at first? Because when we're out there, the sun's shining, it's beautiful. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is true. Any more comments that we need to get to?
No. Well, did we cover all our topics?
No, we have not covered all of our topics yet.
We have many topics. This is why this is a series and not just one show.
Yeah, this is true. This is actually our first podcast here on Texas Trekker. So we've been talking about it for a long time. So we will try to... I would like to do this probably once a month. So if you guys are not... If you have not liked the Texas Trekker Facebook page... then go do that. And then also, if you like YouTube, like everybody else and their mom does, then also you can find Texas Trekker on YouTube. We'll be posting this podcast on there whenever we get done.
Hey, we do have one more question from Andy on Facebook.
Okay.
And he said, what do you guys do with your trash? Carry it out? Burn it? Super good question.
Yeah, that's a super good question. So a lot of people, I guess the rule of thumb is pack it in, pack it out. You know what I mean?
Leave no trace.
Yeah, leave no trace. But... I'm guilty of this. If we have a fire, I'm probably going to end up burning some of my trash just so that way I don't have to carry it. I don't know how big of a no-no that is to burn some of that stuff, but I do burn some of my stuff. But a lot of the times I'll pack it out.
Yeah, same here. I think a lot about the weight of the packing material for the food because there's some food that you just have more packing material than is really necessary. So you gave the example before of tortillas.
Yes.
A really great hiking food because they come in a pack.
They're high in carbs.
They're great. They don't go bad for the most part, and they come in a plastic wrapping that's easy to burn if you decide to do that, or super easy to carry out. That's one of the great things about hiking is that when you're coming out, it's a lot lighter than when you went in.
Yeah, that last day is always the best day. Well, I don't want to say it's the best day because you're going home, but it's always the lightest day.
Yeah.
The best day is whenever you first get to the trailhead and you're all pumped and ready to go, and it's amazing.
But I also, I showed you guys my little cold soak Tupperware. So I will pre-pack that with at least one thing of ramen. I try to reduce as much of the packing material as possible before I go. But at some point, you have to have some packing material.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of guys will, you'll get a bunch of food from the store, and then they'll completely repackage it again because you don't realize actually how much the actual packaging weighs that you get from Walmart or REI or whatever the store is. And so people will start to reduce those down into Ziplocs and things that are a lot less heavy or something that's heavy plastic.
Actually, Brock, you bring up a really good point. So I got this from Z-Packs. It's this Cuban fiber. They make these. It's like a really glorified Ziploc baggie. It's really awesome, reusable. But at the end of the day, it's almost unnecessary because Ziploc bags are your friends. You can't really get much lighter than that. A gallon, a sandwich size, They're good to go.
They're a lot cheaper than DCF too.
Because
how much was that bag? Like $50?
Well, I don't know, because my mother-in-law bought this for me for Christmas, and she it was hilarious. She was so mad about it because it came in a very small envelope, and she spent a lot of money on this. And she's like, "Hey, here's your Christmas present," because it came afterwards because they were behind, of course.
Right.
And she's like, "What is this?" And I opened it up, and I was so excited. And she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, "I paid that much money for 3 little Ziploc bags." I was like, "This is not a Ziploc bag." So,
it's Cuban fiber.
Yeah, but I only have to buy it once for the most part. It'll last a while.
Yeah, I mean, they should last for a while. I think that there is the tensile strength. They say is actually pound for pound better than steel.
Yeah. I love technology. I work at NASA. I really dig this stuff. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to ultralight hiking, there's some of the coolest technology that's out there. So our friend Allie actually posted a comment, which kind of leads to our next topic, Brock, which is for someone who is just starting out and may not be ready with such an investment that is ultralight hiking, what's the most important gear to start with?
So you have your big 3. Right, so you have your pack, your sleeping bag, and your shelter.
Right.
Which I am going to advocate for a tent because they're way better than hammocks.
And lighter. So
they're lighter.
If you're just starting out and you're only going to buy 1 or 2 things, it probably makes sense to buy a tent. It's probably what you're more comfortable with, and it's lighter. And then maybe you can carry more weight somewhere else. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that you can do as well, as far as like the hammocks and stuff like that, is buy one, put it in your backyard, try to sleep in it over the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people get the wrong way to actually sleep in a hammock. You're actually supposed to sleep it more of like a diagonal versus, straight like a banana.
Right.
So that's why they make them so wide, so that way you can kind of sprawl out diagonal, and that way you can lay a little bit more flat. To me, I just couldn't get comfortable because I'm a stomach sleeper, and I felt like I was doing yoga all night, or the scorpion.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or the cobra, or whatever they call that move. And I just couldn't sleep. And then so I switched to a tent, loved it, never going back. You guys are communists that eat creamy peanut butter.
So I do have to tell you, so I was trying to get my kids into ultralight hiking / hammock camping for their first trip, because I figured we'll just leapfrog all over the bad mistakes that I've made in my past. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for them to carry 40-pound packs. I mean, they can't anyway. No. I'm going to end up carrying it. So they were both hammock camping. I have to tell you, Asher, I love that kid. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and Asher, and we're all right next to each other. I found this really sweet setup where there's one tree that all of our hammocks were tied to, and then there's 3 trees on the other side. So we were all pretty much, our heads were like boom, boom, boom right there. So Asher's like, Daddy, I'm so scared. And I'm like, Asher, it's going to be okay. We're fine.
How old is Asher?
He's 10.
Okay.
So after like 15 minutes of Daddy, I'm so scared, I finally got out of my hammock, because we all know in the middle of the night, no matter what, like even if you have to go to the bathroom, you do not want to get out of your hammock. You just kind of roll over and go to the bathroom if you're a guy.
If you're a guy, yeah. Don't do it if you're a woman.
Asher, I finally got out, and I'm like, Asher, what's the deal, buddy? And my sweet boy, he had no shirt on because they sleep just without shirts, just shorts on. And it was cold. Remember how it was freezing?
Yeah.
And his sleeping bag is completely on the ground. So he's sitting there shivering, but he didn't know that he was cold. He thought he was scared. He couldn't name his emotion. So I got him covered up. He was good to go.
That is funny.
Yeah. So if you're going to, like you said, practice in your backyard.
Practice in your backyard, especially with new setups. You never want to go to the trail with a brand new setup that you've never used before.
Yeah.
I know whenever I get any new piece of equipment, I go straight to the backyard or the living room, and I start to set that thing up.
Yeah. Your wife loves that.
My wife absolutely loves that.
What other gear do you recommend for Allie? First timer gear.
So yeah, I mean, basically first timer gear is the big 3. Yeah. So always spend the majority of your money on those big 3. Of it's going to be your tent, it's going to be your sleeping bag, and then it's going to be your shelter.
Right. So, and the other thing is, you don't have to buy it all. Borrow it from a friend, especially the sleeping bag part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for my 2 kids this time around. I borrowed 2 sleeping bags from a friend. So,
yep.
Those are the big 3. Get those.
I think you can actually rent some things. I don't know if REI does a rental program, but I met a girl out there the day before you guys got out there, and she was at Texas A&M. She was out there camping with her dog, and she had rented everything from, I guess, like some sort of A&M rec center or something like that, to where she could get out there and go camping, try it out before she made a big investment. But backpacking is a huge investment.
It is.
There's so much equipment out there that is so expensive, and everybody's probably heard this saying is you spend a fortune to live like a homeless person.
My wife particularly says that. But here's the thing. I mean, how much are you talking really when you're all said and done? I mean, say it's like $1,000 or $1,500. You think about, you're going to go on vacation. Maybe you're going on vacation somewhere else. You're going to spend the night in a hotel. With this one-time investment, you can now really, for a very low cost, if not free, around the country, spend the night anywhere. And you learn how to almost survive being able to do that. And so, I don't know. I think that it's like, my wife is all about cost per wear. Mm-hmm. If it's a little bit more expensive, but you use it a lot, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. I love all my camping equipment, but every time that I go camping, I buy something new.
Well, there's that.
I literally just bought a new headlamp because my battery died on my other one. I just got to swap them.
I just got a new knife by Honeybee.
Did you find it?
Or by Spider. It's called Spider Honeybee. I did find it. It was in my jacket.
Oh,
it's so small that I keep losing it.
No, it is super tiny.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Okay. All right, what else we got?
So we have one other thing. It says, and so I got a lot of these topics off of the Lonestar Hiking Trail Facebook group, and so one of the things was break down the gear that was crucial and the gear that you won't bring on the trail again, and talk about the gear that you wish you had. So I guess the first part of that one, break down the gear that was crucial. So, of course, your big three is going to be your pack, your tent, and your sleeping bag. Number two, if you're a tent camper, is going to be your sleeping mat. And it depends on what time of the year you're going to be going. And sleeping mats can be really expensive. So for the winter time, for the summertime, you don't need something as crazy as like a Thermarest Neo Air X Lite, which I use year round. Because that's about a $250 sleeping mat, but it is insulated, whereas some of the other ones out there aren't insulated, so they can actually make you cold. You don't really use a sleeping mat in your hammock, do you? No,
I think I have an underquilt, so it hangs below my hammock, which keeps me warm. A lot of hammock campers use a pad. And obviously have thermal properties there. It's just warmer. Yeah. So I just don't like carrying them. I haven't found one that I like yet. They're kind of a pain in the butt.
They are, but one of the good things about that whenever I was hammock camping is I would notice that my pad would kind of keep my hammock open a little bit more.
Yes, totally true. So, but see, my hammock has a foot box and a head box, and I can sleep pretty much flat, and so it's nice.
Nice.
I'd say the other thing I would suggest here is, just like with our food, we think through that really well. Your clothing, right? Your clothing matters so much. People tend to bring way too much clothing. It's pretty much like pack what you think you're going to need and then take out half of it, and that's probably what you actually need, especially if you have the right gear. So my uncle's awesome. He told me about this Houdini jacket and these Houdini pants that match it. They're pretty spendy. You can get them at REI, but man, lifesaver. They're rainproof, they're windproof. They keep you warm in the morning, and then we just hike in shorts and a t-shirt essentially, even in the winter. Yeah, that's all you need.
So yeah, I actually stopped bringing extra clothes. Yeah, completely. So especially if it's like a 3 or 4 day, I'm gonna wear the same clothes all day long.
Like same underwear and everything.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of underwear then? I mean, are you getting like wool underwear?
No, I don't wear. I just wear my Fruit of the Loom.
All right.
Thong.
Excellent.
I wear a hiking kilt. No, I literally, the only pair of clothes that I bring that is extra are socks.
Yes.
Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So for a beginner backpacker, I change out my socks probably once in the morning, once at night.
Wow, that's a lot.
And then I will bring a pair to sleep in.
Okay, so you bring 2 pair per day?
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely do not do that.
Yeah.
I bring 2 pair total,
I
no matter how
don't
long.
bring 2 pair a day, but I'll probably bring 3 or 4 pairs of
Okay, that's a lot.
actual good
But that's a
socks.
luxury. I mean, you
Yeah.
like to feel clean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because you can get out there and you can start to feel real nasty.
Right, especially if it rains
Yeah,
and
if
you're
it
all
rains.
soaking wet.
Yeah. So, but that also goes with clothing is, making sure that you have the right rain gear because you never know, it may say clear, but you may get a little bit of, rain out there. And so having a good rain jacket
Yep.
is good, and make sure that it's accessible and not packed way down in your pack.
Yeah.
I always put it on either the top of my pack or like in one of the pockets where I can grab it really easily.
And then gear that dries quickly.
Yeah, gear that dries quickly. So that's another thing is I was using some Solomon kind of shoe boot things that are, I guess Gore-Tex, waterproof, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But what I was realizing is throughout the day, the Gore-Tex doesn't breathe very well. So I end up sweating on the inside of my shoe, and the inside of my shoe is wet every day that I hike.
Shoes. People get this so wrong.
Now I have,
What did you have first? What did you
I
have
had the
first?
Solomons.
Okay, but a lot of people will go out and they'll go to REI and they'll buy like these huge bulky hiking shoes.
Yeah, like mountaineering.
Right.
Oh, like mountaineering boots.
Yeah.
Is what they'll buy. You
Not
don't need that.
good. Not good. They're way too heavy. They're not great. Those are perfect.
Yeah. These are the Ultra Lone Peak 5s.
Yeah.
Most comfortable shoes I've ever worn in my life. I wear them every day now.
Yeah.
Even to work, I wear them.
Right.
But the good thing is, they're breathable, they dry out really easily, and I think they're waterproof, but they breathe and they're really nice, and I love them. I will probably never ever go to another shoe ever again. I think I'm gonna even wear these in the snow next month in New Hampshire.
They'd be sufficient. Yeah, they'd be good to go.
Yeah, as long as I have some
hiking in the snow is so awesome.
I don't know if I've ever done it in the snow.
Man. You'll love it.
Where'd you do that?
The AT.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I did go walk in the snow the last time I was up there.
Yeah.
I went there in November.
Now,
December.
ice, not so much.
Ice is not fun.
Yeah.
So, crucial pieces would be making sure that you have the right footwear. Socks is very important to me, anyway. And then a good sleeping mat. You can get some budget ones, but to me, my philosophy is you buy once, you cry once. But whenever we were out there last time, I have a small hole in it. So it started to leak on me.
Okay.
And so I brought it home literally that night. I was so upset that this thing was leaking because it was so expensive. I dunked it in the bathtub. I found the hole. I patched it with the patch kit that came with it. It's holding air. We're all good now.
So my kids are in Cub Scouts right now and Boy Scouts. And what they teach you in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts is, to be prepared, which I relatively agree with.
Tell that to an ultralight backpack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Be prepared, but don't carry too much unnecessary junk. So one thing that they tell the kids to carry, which I've never thought about, but I think it's actually a really good idea. I've never carried it myself, but I think I'm going to start, is a whistle.
Your pack comes with them.
Really?
Yeah, look at Look at the sternum strap.
Yeah?
It comes with a whistle.
Okay.
Right.
Mind blown.
Your mind is
Look
blown.
at that.
Yep. Yeah, it's a rape whistle.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
So if you're ever being raped in the woods,
You taught me something.
blow your whistle.
This is great. Good
Yeah,
job.
thanks, man. That's
Love it.
That's why I'm here on the podcast to blow your mind with.
This is why
rape
people
whistles.
tune in.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, a whistle is important just in case you get lost. It was funny. I remember I was telling you that girl that I met on the trail.
Yeah.
From A&M.
Right.
So she came over. She was like, "Hey, sorry to bother you. Do you have an iPhone cord?" I was like, "Yeah." So she came over. She hung out for a little bit. My son was playing with her dog, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back to my campsite now," because she got a good charge on her phone. And about 30 minutes later, I hear kind of off in the distance. I hear a Brock. I was like, Who's calling my? Anyway, it ended up being that girl. She got off the trail somewhere. It was deep into the woods. She was like, "Can you blow a whistle or something? Because I cannot find my way back to camp, but I know it's around here somewhere." So anyway, I didn't blow my whistle because her dog ended up finding the way back, and she followed the dog.
Well, so we talked about this on a recent hike of things you should carry for emergency situations. Mm-hmm. So one of the tips that we got was to carry some duct tape. around your hiking poles or wherever, and this happened to you. You had a blister.
It did. It was terrible.
It was terrible. And so instead of a Band-Aid, you use duct tape. Now, it sounds painful, and it probably was. But when you're on the trail, it's fantastic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fix so much stuff with duct tape.
Yep.
So much stuff. Your tent, your hammock, if you decide to go down that communist route.
Your sleeping bag, if it's, there's a puncture in that.
If it has a hole, I wish I would have had some tape because I didn't bring any that time. But I need to start doing that, at least around my poles, so that way I can start doing that. That'd be great.
Yep.
What other gear won't you bring on the trail again? Do we have any more questions? Or
let me look.
Sorry, I know this is our first podcast. We don't have a whole lot of followers yet, so.
Hey, we got some followers. That's great. Yeah. Man, we would love to hear from you guys though after you listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Put what you wouldn't carry on the chat. We'd love to hear that.
The other thing that I like about this kind of stuff too is like if you have any like cool backpacking hacks, like I'll YouTube a lot of like cool backpacking hacks. Like I found one which was really cool, especially if you use a sleeping pad. What guys were doing is they're putting their pillow on their sleeping pad and they'll put a shirt over the sleeping pad and the pillow, so that way your pillow's not moving everywhere.
Love that.
So that's a really cool one.
The other thing I would not carry, which is kind of a hack that I learned about recently, is I probably won't carry toothpaste anymore or a toothbrush. Again, ultralight hiker, I don't want to carry unnecessary stuff. So does that mean, Nick, you are just really gross?
Care is very important.
It is very important, right? That does not mean I'm not brushing my teeth. So it turns out you can actually buy, like if you go to the mall and you're like, you go to some of these stores. I forget which store it is. What store is it? Lush. LushUSA.com. You can buy these toothpaste tabs. And they're just like, you just chew them. And they brush your teeth for you.
No way.
Yes. So I went to buy some of these gin and tonic flavored. But they were sold out. They were sold out. These are really popular. Looking right now, see if they're still sold out. Yeah, I can't even find. We hate to burst your bubble, but this page doesn't exist.
Nick, anyway, so spewing stuff out into the universe that just isn't real.
I know. So I'm super excited about these toothpaste tabs.
Did you brush your teeth this morning?
I did.
Good.
Yes.
God, man, you're making me.
No, but seriously, this is something that ultralight hikers are doing, and is equally as good as brushing your teeth when you're on the trail, and it reduces your weight. So.
No. Oh, sorry. We had a little. It was freezing online. Anyway.
Happens a lot.
What other gear have you taken before that you don't bring anymore?
Man.
Well, other than toothpaste. That's weird, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just all the stuff we've talked about, just heavier versions of it. Gear I will take, let's see, I'm going through my gear list here. So definitely insect repellent. It doesn't seem, whenever I don't carry it, I end up getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, for example. For a while, I carried the Tent Labs Deuce No. 3 shovel. Do you know about this?
The Deuce of Spades?
Yeah.
Why does it say Deuce No. 3?
I don't know. Deuce No. 3 heavy-duty backcountry trowel and tick remover. I have a tick remover I carry, but I no longer carry the shovel because it's unnecessary. You use a stick. Yeah. Even though it's super light, it's only 0.9 ounces. But that's 0.9 ounces.
You can't use a stick or a rock. But
right. Yeah, so I don't carry that anymore. That's about it. I don't know. Unnecessary supplies. So, for example, your reflective cord, figure out what you need, don't carry the rest. I mean, it might be good for a survival situation, but then you can just use the stuff off your tent.
Yeah, I used to bring a bunch of like paracord, and I would use it as like line, like to just hang stuff up.
Yeah.
But I since I've gone ultra, I was like, do I really need that?
Yeah.
No, I can just set it down on the ground or use a vine or something. So
well, that's what's so great about it all is, I mean, you just experiment. You get out there, you try things out, you hike with buddies, you see what they're doing, make fun of them a little bit when they're carrying too much. And then over time, you just really refine what's in your pack. So Brock and I posted on the Facebook chat just our lighter pack setups, so you can kind of go in there, compare what we do. Brock is a tent camper, and I'm a hammock camper, so you can kind of see how we're set up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One thing I did not talk about under the food prep section was I lay my stuff out in days. Right.
That's a great idea.
So breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then I'll put that into a Ziploc. So that way I'll pull out Friday. I'll pull out Saturday. So that way I'm not just like, what should I eat? So yeah, I'll separate them out into days. So that way I know that I'm not like overeating or undereating. And I always end up having more food at the end of the trip anyway, but that's how I like to do it. Just so I can pull a bag out, know what I have to eat for that day, and then I can either burn it or throw it away and just, get rid of that stuff.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So that's how I do my food prep. What is one of your luxury items that you bring?
Well, my phone. I carry my phone, which means I carry a battery for it.
I don't think that's a luxury item.
It is a lot. So my uncle will tell you it's completely unnecessary. So he doesn't carry a brick like this. Mm-hmm. He carries his phone. He powers it off, and in an emergency situation, he'll turn it on. He carries a satellite phone as well, which is super smart, especially if you're going on longer hikes in more remote areas. But I carry my phone, I carry my brick, battery, and I carry my AirPods.
Yeah.
So that way at night you can, listen to some music and just chill out.
Yeah. I like to watch movies at night, so I'll always download like Netflix movies or something like that. So whenever I'm just chilling out in my tent, I can fall asleep to watching a movie. So I always bring like a pair of headphones, my phone, and whatever movies that I have downloaded.
Yeah. But you got to download them. That's the key.
Yeah, you got to download them. Don't forget, because you get out there and you're like, crap.
Yeah.
I'm on like 1 bar 5G E, which is basically like their beta version of it, so it barely works. But sometimes I get lucky and I can get out there and get a little bit of signal. But download your Netflix movies before you go if you want something to do at night.
Yep. Oh, one other thing I don't carry a lot of, water.
Yes. So
a lot of people overpack water, right? And you think you need a ton, but you really don't if you plan out your hike well. Mm-hmm. And especially up by the AT where we're hiking, there's water galore. So you can really get a lot of water up there. But in Texas, it's a little less water, so you have to carry some in. But we just get a smart water bottle, filled up 1 liter, and that's sufficient.
Yeah, I was, I heard this from your uncle, but basically Camel Up. I will drink as much water as I can before we start, and then I'll only fill up my bottle about halfway.
That's good.
So that way I'm already hydrated. I guess I'm carrying it inside my body, so I guess it's 6 to 1, half dozen in the other. But still, carried weight, it just doesn't feel as bad. And plus your body needs the water anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's usually what I do.
Well, no more. Oh, wait, we have one more question here.
What's that?
If you're doing a multi-day, how do you let someone know where you are? Do you do daily phone calls home at a certain time of day? What's the process you guys use?
So basically what I do is for my wife, I will print out the map and I'll say, this is where we're parking. This is where we're going day 1. This is where we're going day 2, and I'll circle them. So that way, if she doesn't hear from us, she can call the ranger station. So you can give her that phone number to the ranger station and just say, hey, I haven't heard from my husband or wife or who, in a couple days. This was their route. Maybe you can find them along that route. So that's what I do.
That's good. I pretty much do the same thing. I leave the Find My Phone tracker thing so my wife can see where I'm at when I have service. I'll tell you what, though. So my uncle, my cousin, we're hiking in South Carolina. I told you before, he carries a satellite phone, and it has an emergency function on it. So if you get into trouble, and this is a service you guys can buy, totally worth it if you're going on a longer hike and you're concerned about that, which we probably all should be. They accidentally hit the emergency function on it. So it sent out a beacon of where they were, but they had no service.
Oh, God.
So no one could get a hold of them. We were all freaking out. We were like, oh, man, we all need... And they're from Illinois. We're from Texas. Like, we're going to all go to South Carolina to try to find them.
Missouri?
What's that?
You sure they're not from Missouri?
It's a fair point. They live right across the river. It's not... We're not sure, actually.
I got that wrong in one of my videos, so sorry about that.
So I guess the point is, those things can go wrong like that. It's good to have a plan, and then try to phone in, try to check in every couple of days if you can at a minimum, just so people know where you're at. Yeah. And fortunately, a lot of trails these days have a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there right now because of the pandemic, enjoying the great outdoors. But some of you will go in crazy remote spots where you don't see people for days, and you can get yourself in some hairy situations. So you want to be prepared.
Speaking of hairy situations, do you bring a razor?
I don't.
I don't either.
No.
I've heard some people bring razors and shave out there. I'm just like, why?
No.
You gotta look like a mountain man out there.
Yeah.
Get you a beard going.
Right.
Or a mullet or something.
But I do bring a hat, right? And so I don't normally wear a hat.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
But when I'm hiking, I wear a hat because you wake up with bedhead and you look like a crazy man.
Yeah.
So I try to look a little less crazy on the trail.
What was your luxury item again?
Right. Did I say? Oh, yeah, my phone.
Oh, yeah, your phone.
What's yours?
Well, besides your phone, because I'm going to
Okay.
say that a phone is essential for emergencies, Netflix, movies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is like the one item that you bring?
So, I mean, it's so interesting because I don't know if I have a lot of. I mean, I would probably say things that you're like, okay, I would bring that anyway. But so my pillow, my inflatable pillow.
Yeah, this is my inflatable pillow. It's
Yeah.
the Aeros pillow by Sea to Summit. I absolutely love this pillow.
Yeah. Super awesome, but also takes up space and weight. So, do you really need it, especially in a hammock? Oftentimes, I don't even use my pillow.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually thinking about dropping it. And then, I don't know, my other one luxury item is my suspension system for my hammock. So, I can get lighter with that. But man, it's a pain in the butt. So,
How does that work?
well, so you can get. I mean, so a lot of people have like the normal just
Straps.
the normal straps. They're heavy. So I have the Helios suspension system by Inu.
Eno.
And then, but you can also get like this fish hook suspension system, which is a lot like 0.1 pound lighter than my system. But I just like the convenience of being able to get there, wrap it around the tree, be done.
Yeah, that part is nice.
Yeah.
That's one
Plus,
thing I
I'm
do
also
like
not
about that.
quite confident yet in using an alternative suspension system. So again, I think my luxury comes to where the things that I carry that have more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what mine is?
What?
You got to know what mine is.
Let me think.
Because every time we go camping...
Oh, your camera gear?
Well, no. That's...
You should see Brock out there. He has an ultralight hiking setup, and then he carries all this gear so they all can see what he's doing. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
What else you got?
My chair.
Oh, yes. The chair is kind of... I'm really debating about maybe adding a
Don't
chair
even
to my
debate
system.
it. Just do it.
See, my uncle tells me that it's the pad that matters. Like, you carry the pad, it's super light, you put it on a log. But the problem we had in the Lonestar Trail was there's no logs.
It's all like... Well, I mean, you could find them, but they're going to be either too heavy or people have burned them up for firewood.
Right. And then you sit on the ground, and that's uncomfortable. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got the
What do you got?
Helios, I think it's called Chair Zero.
Okay.
So it's 1 pound. Or I think it's 16 or 17 ounces.
Okay. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, but man, whenever you've had a long day, I don't know. I think that like the trip that I went on with you and Rod and all them. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh. Let me do this. Sorry, guys.
Are we not live?
No, we're live. It's just
Oh.
whenever I get phone calls, it'll end up. Yeah, there you go. Sorry
There
about
we
that. But yeah, if you're doing like a long hike, at the end of the day, you don't really want to sit around camp. You're probably just going to bed.
That's exactly right. So I was just going to say, I think it's about the mission of the hike. So if you're going with your kids for a day or two, I'm with you. I'm going to carry a chair next time.
Yeah.
However, if we're going with our friends, we're doing like the AT, and we're hiking 20 miles a day.
Yeah.
We're just gonna I'm gonna get in the hammock and go to bed.
That's probably what I'll do.
We almost never even make a fire. It's a fire is a luxury item.
Yeah, a fire is a luxury item. You can only do it, and there was another comment on the Lone Star Hiking Trail page is only make a fire if you have to.
Yeah.
And then try to leave no trace.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I'm pretty guilty of that. If I go out with my kids, I'll tend to, have a fire because that's what my son likes to do. But I don't know. And then, kind of disperse it. And also fire safety. Like at night, you got to try to put it out, with some water,
Right.
separate the logs and stuff like that because wind can blow, especially out there in the Lone Star. You have all those pine needles everywhere.
Man,
That's crazy.
It felt a little dangerous, honestly.
Yeah, I was... Because, man, if that forest goes up that quickly...
Yeah.
oof,
You don't want to be that guy.
no, not at all.
I think that's it, man. I think we covered our topics.
Yeah.
That's a
So,
good.
if you guys have anything else, we're about out of time now. Definitely let us know. We'd love to come back on here and, talk about backpacking. It's definitely... my passion in life. I love doing it. I love getting out in the outdoors. If you guys, like I'm saying, if you guys have any other topics or anything like that, Let us know.
We'd love to hear about the gear that you love, the gear you don't carry, hikes that you love, where you've been.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah.
Because
we know about Lost Maples and we know about Lonestar Trail.
Yep.
So what else you guys got?
I know about like Colorado Bend. I've never been
Bend.
there. Big Bend would be cool. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, I've been there once.
I've done some stuff out in Tennessee, North Carolina.
Downtown Houston.
Downtown Houston. Yeah, I don't really consider that, though. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We really do appreciate that. And drop a comment down in the comment section, either on YouTube or Facebook, and then we will go from there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.